Let's have a look and see what's new on Netflix from the 14th of November to the 20th of November. First up is Dirty Grandpa, that combination of Robert De Niro and Zac Efron that a lot of people didn't really like very much. To be honest, I have never seen it. Aubrey Plaza is in it, and that would be a big incentive to watch it, and from the trailer she looks fantastic. However, the general consensus is that this is an atrocious movie. Netflix managed to give it 4 stars. I'm not sure who that's based on because it's very difficult to actually find good reviews for it. There seems to be direct criticism of Robert De Niro and selling out and all that kind of caper. So I have a funny feeling that if I had have seen it, I would have been telling you to avoid it. But I might just go for it because Aubrey Plaza is in there. Dictator One Crazy Job is a documentary by Alan Charlotte about how dictators acquire, abuse and thrive on power. And that's the focus of the documentary, showing the similar obsessions amongst Hitler, Ida Ammon and others. Divines is a Netflix original art house movie about a shrewd teenager and her wisecracking best friend who plan to get rich or die trying by following in the footsteps of a flashy female drug dealer. I think it's a comedy. I'm not too sure, it doesn't actually say. It's French and it gets some pretty decent user reviews, so might be one to check out. A little bit of stand-up from Colin Quinn, The New York Story. The Saturday Night Live veteran performs his off-Broadway show about the history of New York and the people who shape its personality. Oddly enough, it's directed by Jerry Seinfeld, so Hallmark have made a romantic comedy for Christmas. That's right, it's Returning to the Bronx with Elsa, the Wicked Warden. In this romantic... Sorry, no, it's not. It's called Angel of Christmas, starring Jonathan Scarf. While researching a family heirloom, a jilted news staffer uncovers the ornament's magical past and meets someone special, perhaps not by coincidence. If Hallmark movies are your thing, and I know there must be an audience for this out there, then I guess you'll probably quite like it. The reviews are middlingly average. Avec, Eric, is about a chef called Eric Rippert of Manhattan's Le Bernardin as he takes viewers inside the high-end kitchen and around the world in search of high-quality ingredients. If you know who this chef is and you've been to said restaurant in Manhattan, then yeah, I guess you'd probably quite like it, but it just sounds like another cookery show. And you got to wonder about that conversation when this was pitched. I had a nice meal in the restaurant last night. Oh, we must make a TV show about it. This is one that I have on my list to watch. River, it's a TV series with Stellan Skarsgård, who's always good to watch. John River is a brilliant police detective whose genius lies side by side with the fragility of his mind. He's a man haunted by the murder victims whose cases he must lay to rest. Sounds a little bit like The Sixth Sense meets detective drama. It gets excellent reviews. There's only 1 season so far, and I think it's worth watching. I can't say it's brilliant yet because I haven't seen it, but it looks like it's going to be something good. Skiptrace stars Jackie Chan and Johnny Knoxville. Whatever happened to Johnny Knoxville? Well, obviously he ended up here in something that wasn't quite Rush Hour 4. To capture a crime lord who killed his partner and kidnapped his partner's daughter, a Hong Kong detective teams with a smart aleck American gambler. It just sounds like a very standard action comedy. Jackie Chan is always watchable. Johnny Knoxville, take him or leave him, I quite like him. I've had this on my radar for a while. One of the things I did learn was that Johnny Knoxville has to use a catheter twice a day because of an accident he had on Jackass. So I guess that's maybe why this sticks out of my mind. But yeah, this looks fairly fun, totally forgettable, and maybe one for a rainy Tuesday night or something. One high up on my watch list is Shooter. This is a TV series based on the Mark Wahlberg movie from 2007. And Ryan Philippe replaces Mark Wahlberg. A conspiracy thriller that follows the journey of Bob Lee Swaggart, a highly decorated veteran who is coaxed back into action to prevent a plot to kill the president. I really liked the movie, so I would give this TV show a shot. Pun intended. Given how well the Lethal Weapon series went down, there's no reason why this shouldn't be good. Kids movie from 2014 called The Book of Life, featuring Christina Applegate, Ron Perlman, Ice Cube, Zoe Saldana, Cheech Marin, Danny Trejo, and Hector Alonso. Sounds like a great cast. Should he follow his family's footsteps or follow his heart? Young Manolo goes on a fantastic journey to discover the path his life could take. IMDb has a pretty strong score of 7.3 out of 10, and from the looks of it, this has a lot of comedy in it for adults as well, so you might want to sit down with the little ones and watch it yourself. Anger Management, the combination of Adam Sandler and Jack Nicholson. How could that go wrong? It was very average, if anything. After a gentle businessman is forced to get anger management counselling, his therapist moves in, but turns out to have anger issues of his own. The very idea of Sandler doing his whole raging, upset teenage boy routine and Jack Nicholson being a mad, screaming psycho sounds too good to pass up. It's just a shame it was just so middle of the road. There was only a few light moments. Nicholson is pretty damn good in here. Sandler is standard at best. It's an okay fare if you just have to watch a comedy, but there are better ones out there. The Dark Crystal from the late, great Jim Henson. This was one of my favourite movies as a child. It's a little bit darker than Labyrinth, and younger kids will probably be terrified by the contents within. However, it is a fantastic movie with so much atmosphere and such a beautiful world they've created. I can't heap enough praise on this. In this mythical tale, Jen, the last of the Gelfling race, is charged with healing the Crystal of Truth after its mutilation sets off an era of terror. It's imaginative, the creature effects in it are unparalleled to this day, and if you haven't seen this, I just thoroughly recommend sitting down and watching it. It's amazing. It would be my recommendation of the week, but there's something better. Dinosaurs is a sci-fi fantasy film from 1960. A Caribbean construction crew detonates an undersea explosion that inadvertently unearths 2 frozen dinosaurs and a caveman. One of those old B-movies from the 60s. Sounds like fun. They're actually great to put on in the afternoon whenever you're doing something else and have it running in the background. I Spy, the remake of the TV series that starred rapist Bill Cosby and the ever-reliable Robert Culp. Eddie Murphy and Owen Wilson take over the roles, and to be honest, it's actually kind of good fun. It really is entirely forgettable. It's nothing on Mission Impossible, but it runs rings around that Get Smart remake. Owen Wilson steals the show here. He's charming, fun, sophisticated. Eddie Murphy could have been played by anyone, to be honest. And it would have been great had this been spun off into a proper series. There is space for it on television. However, has Cosby gone and soured the name of I Spy? Only time will tell. There's a new sitcom on Netflix called Brine Nation. An Indian-American man living with an artistic wife and a contentious father-in-law struggles to handle his household and founding an IT company. Doesn't get the best reviews. Netflix even has it rated at only 2.5 stars. So perhaps it just hasn't found its footing yet, as there's only 1 season available. One for the little ones, Grammy Circus Show. Grammy, Nemo and Sam, a trio of wacky lions, join ringmaster Jack to train and perform together in their very own circus extravaganza. A second for the kids, Perang, rescue mission. When pirates come to their snowy village, Perang the penguin and Eddie the fox use their wits to rescue their animal pals from the scurvy scallywags. Doesn't have great reviews, but it actually sounds kind of fun. Robert Englund stars in Funhouse Massacre. 6 of the world's scariest psychopaths escape from a local asylum and proceed to unleash terror on the unsuspecting crowd of a Halloween funhouse, whose themed mazes are inspired by their various reigns of terror. Looks like a fairly glossy horror film, and some have said that it's kind of funny too, so it might be a bit of a dark comedy if anything. In 2009, students from all walks of life at the Creative and Learning Children's Conservatory in Anaheim, California, set out to produce their own live musical parody of Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, as interpreted through the young talents. Follow the young actors, artists and musicians as they audition, rehearse and perform their take on the classic film. Sounds like a fairly interesting documentary, getting kids to turn such a classic piece of work as Empire Strikes Back into an on-stage musical. Last Chance to See, a documentary featuring Stephen Fry and Mark Carwardian. Nearly 20 years after he and famed author Douglas Adams searched for the world's most endangered species, zoologist Mark Carwardian teams up with the funny man Stephen Fry to revisit those same animal populations to assess their current conditions. Sounds like a nice sequel to a series that I missed before. And with Stephen Fry on board, I dare say this would be very engaging viewing. Another Stephen Fry documentary, This one I have seen, actually. Stephen Fry in America. Stephen Fry embarks on an odyssey through 50 states, taking the comic's delight in the vast differences and regional cultures that he finds along the way. He drives up and down California in a black taxi. What a fantastic show. Oddball and the Penguins is a kids' film with Alan Tudyk from Firefly, which is the true story about an eccentric chicken farmer who, with the help of his granddaughter, trains a mischievous dog, Oddball, to protect a wild penguin sanctuary from fox attacks, and in the process tries to reunite his family and save their seaside town. I'm pretty sure I've actually seen this somehow. It must have been on television before. However, I can remember nothing of it. I don't know if that bodes well. Fireflies in the Abyss is a documentary following the stories of miners in northwest India, including a plucky 11-year-old Suraj who works in an illegal mining operation to afford a better life. Sounds bleak and horrifying, but obviously something you'd want to see to become more informed about the social and cultural issues around the world. When an alluring young undergrad becomes infatuated with her nearly retired professor, she stirs up the man's humdrum home life in the most unusual way. This is a brand new Sri Lankan film. There's very little information of it online, let alone reviews or whatever. It isn't even on the Internet Movie Database. So watch at your own peril. Hopefully it will be excellent. And you can tell me, and I'll recommend it one other day. Cream is another art house movie about a college student and his friends who embark on a journey of self-discovery when they trek into the Himalayas searching for a mythical hashish. One of the reviews said that they were expecting some dopey Bollywood song dance routine. However, they were wrong. The film introduced them to aspects of India they never dreamed could exist. Makes it sound a little bit more interesting in my book after reading that. Under the Skin, that British film which made the headlines because Scarlett Johansson gets her kit off. You either love it or you hate it. Some people say it's one of the best movies they've ever seen. Others say that it's an utter piece of crap. I didn't really find it too interesting, to be honest, and only made it about halfway through. I'm sure I missed out. But obviously there's a time and a place for a film like this, and I was expecting some Saturday night entertainment with a little bit of sci-fi exploration. However, in turn I got a strange, drawn-out and slow drama about a female seductress alien-type creature, and I just wasn't into that at the time. And finally, that brings us on to my recommendation of the week, and it's Das Boot. I'm recommending it for a couple of different reasons. Firstly, the film is amazing in every form that it is available. This is the theatrical release, which is the shortest. It's about 145 minutes long. There is a 210-minute director's cut if you fancy that instead, or if you get through this and need more. Then again, there is also a 293-minute version, which is the original uncut version. You can find that on DVD. It was originally a 6-hour mini-series that I don't know if it's ever been released in that form, but that 293-minute version would obviously be the closest. The second reason why I'm recommending this is that I know that there is a TV series of it being planned currently. So it would be best, much like Westworld, for you to go back and visit this beforehand. However, it's amazing how, even with one of those phenomenally long running times that I just mentioned, that this film still manages to be edge-of-the-seat, crazy tense throughout the entire thing. It's not nerve-shattering, it is just a gripping amount of tension from start to finish. There are phenomenal performances by a cast for which you will probably only recognise a few faces maybe, with Jürgen Prochnow in the lead, and a pretty much all-German cast throughout. It's a film that it took me a long time to actually sit down and watch because, being a big World War II movie fan, this was one that didn't have as much appeal because it didn't seem as action-packed as, say, The Great Escape or one of the Navarro movies. However, the movie is very much self-contained inside a tin can at the bottom of the ocean for the entire duration, and just how much mileage they get out of it is incredible. I still think about it every now and again. as one of the best exercises in claustrophobia. It's beautifully shot, beautifully directed, beautifully constructed, written, and performed, and should be added to anyone's list who hasn't yet witnessed this. So that's a vast improvement over last week's offering from Netflix. It's good to see them putting a bit of choice into their movies and TV shows for you to watch. So tune in next week when we'll be having a look and seeing what else they've added over the upcoming week. Thanks for joining me, and remember to hit that subscribe button below. Take care.